Netaji in modern India. After the silence, when history loses a man, it often gains a symbol. After 1947, India stepped into freedom, carrying joy in its hand and uncertainty in its eyes. The nation celebrated survival, but not everyone celebrated the story that had been told. Somewhere between independence and amnesia, Subhash Chandra Bose began a second life, not in flesh but in conscience. His absence became a presence. The soldier's shadow. In the Indian Armed Force, Subhash Chandra Bose never disappeared. His name was spoken not in slogans but in training grounds, war, colleges, and quiet conversation among officers who understood the cost of command. The Indian National Army had failed military, yet it succeeded where it mattered most. It shattered the myth of British invisibility. Senior British officers later admitted what official historians tried to soften. The loyalty of Indian soldiers could no longer be guaranteed. The that fracture ended an empire. Netaji and the youth. Every generation searches for a mirror. For some, Subhash Chandra Bose was too militant, for others too uncompromising, but for the young, especially those impatient with half measures, Netaji became clarity itself. He did not ask for comfort, he asked for courage. In universities, protest, movement, and debates on the nationalism, Bose re-emerged whenever India asked itself a difficult question. What are we willing to sacrifice for our beliefs? Ideology beyond levels. Bose refused neat categories. He was neither capitalist or communist, neither fascist nor liberal in the conventional sense. He believed the state must be strong, ethical, and temporary, powerful enough to rebuild a broken nation, humble enough to step aside. Once the people couldn't stand, his vision was not authoritarian, it was urgent. Subhash Chandra Bose was comfortable in nationalism. Modern India often celebrates freedom while fearing its cost. Subhash Chandra Bose unsettles that comfort. He reminds the nation that freedom was not achieved only through patience and prayer, but also through rebellion, risk, and readiness to lose everything. Remembering him fully requires honesty, and honesty is demanding. Statues, files, and forgotten questions. Statues were erected, roads were named, portraits were garlanded. But question remain archive. Why were files sealed for decades? Why did closure arrive without certainty? The demand was not for conspiracy but for respect. A nation confident in its freedom does not fear its past. Subhash Chandra Bose in global memory. Outside India, Subhash Chandra Bose is studied with fewer inhibitions. History examine him as a revolutionary realist, one who understood geopolitics long before newly independent nation learned its language. In Asia, Africa, among post-colonial thinkers, Subhash Chandra Bose is remembered not as controversy but as courage. What would Subhash Chandra Bose ask today? Not applause, not worship. He would ask questions. Are you strong enough to protect your freedom? Are you united enough to reserve it? Are you honest enough to comfort injustice? Even when it's convenient, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose believed independence was a beginning, not a reward. The eternal commander. Some leaders retire, some leaders die, some leaders continue to command, silently relentless through the choices our nation makes long after they are gone. Subhash Chandra Bose belongs to the last kind. Freedom is a responsibility. The final lesson Bose leaves behind is neither militant or not mystical. It is moral. Freedom, he believes, is not a gift, secure once and preserved forever. It is a responsibility renew every generation. India future will decide how well it learn from its most uncompromising son. The philosophy of a courage. Courage is not allowed. Courage. Subhash Chandra Bose's belief was never theoretical. It did not shout before acting, nor did it seek reassurance. Once a path was chosen, courage was quiet, disciplined, and solitary. It appeared not in moments of applause, but in hours of isolation when conviction stood alone against consequence. Subhash Chandra Bose understood this early. Every decisive turn of his life, resigning from the ICS, breaking from Congress, escaping captivity, marching with a doomed army, was taken without certainty of victory. For him, courage was not the absence of fear, it was commanded over fear. Fear as a tool, not a master. Subhash Chandra Bose did not romanticize fearlessness, he studied fear. He observed how empire manufactured it, how population absorbed it, how individuals surrendered to it without resistance. Fear, he concluded, was the most efficient weapon of domination. To disarm it, one needed discipline, not rage, discipline over emotion. Emotion ignites movements, discipline sustains them. Subhash Chandra Bose admired passion but mistrusted chaos. He demanded punctuality, restraint, and sacrifice not because he was rigid but because he knew revolutions collapse when feeling outruns structure. In the INA, discipline was equality. Officers ate what soldiers ate. Leaders slept where soldiers slept. Authority was earned through endurance. Freedom, Subhash Chandra Bose insisted, requires self mastery before self rule. Sacrifice without romance. Bose never promised comfort. He warned repeatedly that freedom would cost more than slogans could pay. There would be hunger, there would be defeat, there would be anonymity. Sacrifice in his philosophy was not martyrdom, it was continuity, the willingness to give today what tomorrow might benefit from without guarantee of recognition. Leadership as a burden. To lead, Subhash Chandra Bose's belief was to carry weight others could not. He rejected cults of personality, even as one formed around him. Leadership was not adoration, it was accountability. When strategies fail, he blamed himself. When victories occur, he distributed credit. A leader, he wrote, must be prepared to be misunderstood, isolated, and judged harshly by history. Popularity was irrelevant, purpose was everything. Violence and moral responsibility. Subhash Chandra Bose never celebrated violence, but he refused to sanctify passivity. He believed morality could not be detached from contest to him. Violence initiated by oppressors could not be answered only with appeals to conscience. Yet, even in war, he demanded restraint. The enemy was a system, not civilian. This distinction, often ignored by extremists, by, was central to his ethics. Nationalism without hatred. Subhash Chandra Bose's nationalism was fierce but never xenophobic. He admired strength in other cultures and learned from them freely. His fight was not against people but against subjugation. True nationalism, he argued, does not strengthen the mind, it fortifies it. Freedom as character. For Subhash Chandra Bose, freedom was not merely political, a nation of weak character. He believed would exchange one ruler for another. True independence requires citizens capable of responsibility, restraint, and courage. Institution matter, but character mattered more. The cost of choosing hard path. Subhash Chandra Bose chose the hardest available road every time, not because it was dramatic, but because it was honest. The easier path, he believed, delays injustice rather than ending it. History does not reward comfort. It remember resolve. Courage as legacy. Netaji left behind no doctrine carved in stone. He left behind a challenge to act when delay feels safer, to accept responsibility when blame is easier, to serve a cause larger than personal survival. Courage, Subhash Chandra Bose taught, is not inherited, it is practiced. A nation yet to be built. Subhash Chandra Bose never treated independence as an arrival. To him, it was merely permission to rebuild a civilization bruised by centuries of extraction, division, and doubt. Political freedom without national reconstruction. He warned would collapse into disorder or complacency. India Subhash Chandra belief was free but unfinished. Strength before prosperity. Subhash Chandra Bose's vision of the future rejected shortcuts. He argued that prosperity without strength invites dependence and democracy without discipline invites decay. The nation must first become capable economically, militarily, and morally before it could afford fragility. This belief unsettled many, but Subhash Chandra Bose never sought comfort in agreement. The role of the state. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose envisioned a state that was firm but temporary. In the early years of independence, he believed the government must take command of heavy industry, infrastructure, education, and defense, not to dominate society but to stabilize it. Once stability matured into capability, the state must withdraw. Power. Subhash Chandra Bose's system must never become habit. Unity beyond strength. Coalition had ruled in India by division. Subhash Chandra Bose's answer was unity. Chandra Bose's answer was unity, not symbolic, but functional. Religion, language, reason, and caste could enrich culture, but must never fracture purpose. He warned repeatedly that identity politics left unchecked would succeed where imperialism had failed. India's strength, he believed, lay in shared responsibility, a scientific temper. Subhash Chandra Bose admired spirituality, but he trusted science. The future India, he imagined, invested heavily in research, technology, and rational education. Superstition was not tradition, ignorance was not culture. A free nation, he argued, must think boldly and critically. Faith could inspire, reason must guide. Soldiers of peace. Bose never imagined a weak military. He, re- he envisioned armed force strong enough to prevent war, disciplined enough to avoid tyranny, and restrained enough to remain subordinate to civilian purpose. Strength in his philosophy was a guarantee of a peace, not its enemy. The citizen as a guardian. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose future India placed extraordinary responsibility on ordinary citizens. Rights were meaningless without duty. Freedom demanded vigilance. Complacency, complacency he warned would be more dangerous than foreign rule. The republic's survival depended not on leaders alone but on character at scale. Education for nationhood. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose rejected education designed merely for employment. He demanded education that produced thinkers, builders, and protector of the republic. School must cultivate discipline, curiosity, and service, not entitlement. A nation, he believed, is educated into existence. Unfinished dream. Subhash Chandra Bose history denied Subhash Chandra Bose the chance to govern, but his idea remains available, untested, demanded, and relevant. They ask uncomfortable questions of modern India. Are we strong enough to remain free? Are we united enough to remain whole? Are we disciplined enough to lead ourselves? The future is still listening. Subhash Chandra Bose, Netaji. Nations do not move only by laws. They move by ideals carried forward, generation and generation. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose left India not with answer, but with a compass. Whether the nation chooses to follow it remains an open decision.